Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome. Here we are to Paul's Monday Market Update number 221 for Monday, 13th of April, 2026. I hope you're well. Hope you've had a good Easter period. Hope you've enjoyed this volatility in the markets, whether you be engaged or merely sat on the sidelines watching the shenanigans play out. Either way, it has been quite some couple of weeks, hasn't it? Anyway. For those of you joining us for the first time, the Monday Market Update is just that. It is me just flying through as much as I possibly can do in the sort of next 30 minutes. I'm looking to effectively give you some insight on strength and weakness within FX indices and commodities. I look at some charts of some stocks or ETFs that are of interest you might want to add to your watch list, and then a look at the live markets. It's not a signal service. It's not trade recommendations. It's just me sharing with you what I'm looking at the moment, which might be of relevance or interest to yourselves. As always, you're very welcome here. Just remember, you are always responsible for your own trading decisions. And if you want a little bit of help and support in your own trading journey, the VTP Trader Accountability Group will be running through Q2. It's where we look to build discipline, accountability, and consistency in your trading and in building your trading business. Once again, if you want to join us, the QR code will take you there, or you can ping me if you've got any questions about that. Next one is Citigroup, and this is this is where I'm starting to get interested because we've just looked at Goldman Sachs, we just looked at JP Morgan, which are trailing their highs, their recent highs, but Citigroup, okay, I'm going to look at Bank of New York Mellon as well. Okay, Citigroup, well, you can see for yourself here, okay, that they didn't come off as hard as JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and they have reversed and pushed much higher, and in fact back up to these all-time highs here. That's kind of back up above $120. That's what kind of got me interested. So, I mean, they have been going through this kind of restructuring project, kind of cost-cutting drive, this kind of whole turnaround narrative, and they've I don't conclude myself to be a banking specialist, but normally they were seen as a bit lagging profitability versus their the peers that we've just spoken about, which had kept their position a bit cautious. But you can see for yourself that has kind of rallied pretty strong higher ago. It's and sometimes people would associate Citigroup with kind of almost being like a kind of like it very sensitive to sentiment shifts and kind of moves first, and perhaps maybe that's why with the sentiment from last week, that's why maybe it pumped itself so higher again. It did trade to the highs, didn't but and really, if you're looking at that from last week, that was kind of that's its highest weekly close, right? So it's highest weekly close, and stuff like that you have to sit up and take notice of. But yeah, once again, they're releasing theirs before the open tomorrow, okay, to see how that particularly plays out. But I'm curious that they have, as I said, already pumped higher. And was that just like a little bit of was that a bit of sentiment giddiness, right? Just that ceasefire giddiness, okay? Is that what we saw there with Citigroup? Because invariably we also saw, kind of similar with BK, sort of Bank of New York Mellon. They are on where are they? They're Thursday, all right. They're Thursday before the open. But once again, having had this fabulous weekly trend, doesn't it? Fabulous weekly trend, a bit of a pullback into the 20, beneath 120. Once again, that kind of ceasefire sentiment has just war off risk on has pumped us higher there, hasn't it? Considerably higher again. Once again, that's the highest weekly close, and so you've got a question as well. Is that people positioning in front of the the earnings on Thursday? Is that just overall kind of sort of giddiness sentiment? Is that or is that, as I said, is that just likely to fall back to 120 as kind of the global volatility and the numbers kind of get released? We'll have to wait and see. So normally what they're saying is kind of Bank of New York, when these guys are strong, this is kind of showing good, solid institutional participation, all right. And so you can certainly see that that's what's happening there. Okay, that uptrend is still, still working its way higher. Okay, And as I said, I'll be curious to see if whether yesterday's geopolitical trauma brings us a little bit lower, but maybe that might be an opportunity to sort of, to trade the pullback and, around the news once we get some clarity on that. Okay. So, as I said, one you might want to add to your watch list.